Hi and welcome to the optional Illustrator for Beginner video training. This is for people who've never truly touched Illustrator. Just as a little overview on what I'm going to cover. I'm going to cover the selection versus the direct selection tool. I'm going to cover what the fill and the stroke on object is, how to rotate your objects, why paths should be closed, what could happen if they're not. I'm going to show you how to put your objects in order from front to back. I'm going to practice the pen tool, which we're not really going to use in this class, but anybody that claims to know Illustrator should know how to use the pen tool. I'm going to show you some fun exercises on how to use the blob brush tool and the pencil tool, and then I'm going to show you how to use the shape builder. And I'm going to start with the selection versus direct selection tool in just a moment. However, since I am not sure how much anyone here knows about Illustrator, I wanted to go over how to set up your workspace and how to make it not so overwhelming depending on what's installed. For example, with me right here, I have some plugins installed. We're going to ignore these. I want to make sure that everybody has the same view of what I have here. So what we have here are little windows. You can find all of these windows under Window. And what I would like to do for us first is to kind of close all of these. Before I forget, if you start Illustrator, usually, obviously, if there's no document open, if you just started it by clicking on the Illustrator icon, whether it's your Mac or PC, if you started the software, you have no document, so it's all blacked out. And the reason I had a white background is because I went to open and I opened up the file that I provide for you guys, which is called Beginner Optional Tutorials AI document. What I want to do is make sure that everybody has the same view as I have here. And this looks a little bit complicated, but we'll get there in a moment. So once again, this is now your workspace, and we want to make sure that this document can be worked on in just a moment. But first, there's a couple of things we want to do for housekeeping so you can get really comfortable. So as you can see, there's also these little expand panels right here. This is kind of a couple of years old so that we can minimize looking at tools and optimize looking at what we're working on. And you can do this for your tools, you can do it for your windows. And what I want you guys to practice is just kind of pulling these little icons out and then expanding them, collapsing them. You can actually dock multiple together, so you can totally customize which of your favorite windows you want to have open, and maybe you want them to kind of collapse together. You can also tab your different windows together to optimize even more space. However, sometimes you forget where things are when they're behind each other. So why don't you guys pause the video and go ahead and just close every little single item, including taking your tools out. And this bar up here, where we have our most commonly used options, depending on what we're clicking on, is called your control. So take the check mark out of Windows. And then once you have a clean workspace, so you want to make sure you have the document open, then we're going to bring back everything that we need to get started. Okay? All right. So welcome back. I hope you are ready to find out which tools we're going to need. So we're going to have Tools, Control. So I'm clicking on Window. And then to start, we're going to go with Navigator. I put a lot of goodies into this file, so let's make sure we have our layers. And you can dock them together, and then you'll see how they move together. And we're going to bring our colors out, because that's going to pop up at one point anyways. We're going to work with Stroke. And if your stroke doesn't look like my panel here or window, it's because it might be minimized from a previous user. So some of these windows can be minimized based on what you use. Some people don't use a dash line. We in fashion use, obviously, the dash line for stitching a lot, and arrowheads for tech packs. And so some people really don't have a use for it, or just rarely, so they like to keep it small. I like to keep it open. So I'm just going to dock this here. And then once I dock them all together, they move together. And remember, you can at any point unhinge them and actually also dock them on the side. you will see a little blue highlight. So docking, how does that work? So what I do is I click on my mouse button anywhere on the top dark area or on the name of the window itself. And then I just hover while I click and drag over wherever I want to dock, and you can see a blue highlight, and the blue highlight will show you whether you're going to dock it to where it's tapped, so the whole window comes up, or if I go on the bottom, you just see one line, or if I go on the side, you see a line on the side, and once again here on the side. So you can see you have many different options of customizing your workspace. But that's what we want to have open right now. I'm going to put this on the bottom again. So once more, we want to have controls checked, tools checked, color, navigator, stroke, and that's pretty much it to start. One little thing, sometimes your color might be hidden under navigator. So if I go to window, and even though my color is open, it doesn't look like it has a check mark. So if I click on it, it'll just bring it to the front. So maybe if that keeps happening to you, just pull it out and then put it somewhere more obvious. Good. All right, so let's have some courage and keep exploring.